everything just kind of started to fall apart.
I'm a little taken aback.
They don't even know who he is. They don't know what company they're interviewing for. My gut was right. Not good news to get on a mid-Friday afternoon. Good morning and happy Tuesday, and welcome to another Week in the Life video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Preston. I work as a professional recruiter in the technology industry. Coming into this week, you know, if you've seen last week's video, if you haven't, please make sure you do, that we just ended a gigantic monster of a week. We were able to do 4 successful placements, really setting this month up for potentially one of the biggest I will ever experience on my own desk here in February, which is particularly very, very exciting. But coming into this week, looking at my calendar, we have a packed week. As you heard before, I said happy Tuesday. Yesterday was pretty uneventful. It was just me sitting down for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, God knows how long, and just sourcing and repitching as many candidates that I can. Was able to really network and meet a lot of pretty amazing professionals, and we're making some good progress on the pipelines. Our pipeline overall looks pretty healthy, but today I'm really gonna focus on data science and product managers, product designers, and as you know, gotta always hit up software engineers a little bit later this week, as almost a majority of our clients are hiring software engineers in and around New York or across the country that's fully remote, and that's always high in demand. But I'm feeling really good, had a great workout, got my white tea here, and if you are honestly as excited as I am to have a great week, to have a great month, please consider liking, subscribing, clicking that bell. It really helps a lot, really means a lot, and gives me energy and motivation better than this white tea to help me focus and do my best today and the rest of the week. I really want to focus on pushing as many candidates forward, really fighting for them, getting them to the offer so that hopefully we can pop a couple soon. But we'll see what this week has in store. We have about 6 different interviews today, about 2 tomorrow, 3 on Thursday, and 2 on Friday. I expect a lot more to be on the calendar as we kind of go through this Friday. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. Thanks again for tuning in, and let's get this week started. So I forgot to mention, late last night, I had the unexpected pleasure of texting and chatting directly with my client, who happens to be the head of product. Globally, they have 3,000 employees. So every time he texts me and he's like, hey, do you have a quick second to chat? I will do whatever I can to drop what I'm doing and chat with them. It's very important. As you know, in recruiting, it's all about developing relationships and being the middleman. It's really our job to provide that concierge service both to the candidates and clients. If someone's available, someone really needs to talk, it's late at night, I always do whatever I can to chat with them. Of course, I know work-life balance is really important, and I talk about this all the time, all about self-care. But in this particular instance, I really wasn't doing that much. I was just kind of still sourcing, doing my outstanding emails. So I had a pleasure to chat with him. But he was basically sharing with me that overall he's just really happy with the quality of candidates that we're finding him, really impressed, and that I told him means a lot. You know, we do our best to really find companies, people that they actually want to hire. And as kind of common sense as that sounds, he was able to share with me an instance where his company works with a recruiting agency on retainer. What they do, unfortunately, is a practice I see way too often in the recruiting industry. They send a bunch of candidates to him without even screening them or selling them or reconfirming their interest in the company. So what happens is, if he finds someone, a candidate that is interesting from this recruiter, and he talks to them, they don't even know who he is. They don't know what company they're interviewing for, and he has to literally start from zero and then give them the whole basic spiel. Again, I understand that can happen, but man, that is not the way to go when it comes to wanting to respect your hiring manager or client's time, let alone the candidate's time and their experience. So what we do is we make sure that we only send people to our clients if they express strong interest. We're the first filter, we're the first touch where we're talking to the candidates, selling them the opportunity, and we only submit upon confirmation, so that when they do talk to someone from the team, from our initial conversation, through our initial prep email, they'll understand exactly the information about the position, the company, who they'll be interviewing. They'll be going in with a lot more better understanding to have a lot more of a productive conversation than who are you, what does your company do, which, as you know, basic interview practices, like that never comes off on the interviewee's side well, right? You always want to come prepared and you always want to come enthusiastic and energetic and not talk to a head of product of a 3,000 people global org and say, who are you, what does your company do? He was kind of venting with me a little bit, and I can be empathetic. I mean, a lot of recruiters do this. You can still make a good income, you can still do offers, but this is a practice where I think, we could totally maybe learn from and maybe challenge ourselves to do a little bit better. We're all about wanting to respect everyone's time, the candidate's time and the client's time. And it's our job to make as close to an initial match as possible. If you're not doing that, then you're not really prioritizing the candidate's experience, the hiring manager's experience, and overall respecting all the stakeholders, energy and time and investment they're putting into the interview. So I think if we're able to target better candidates, screen the candidates well enough, reconfirm excitement before sending them to any company, I think that small thing would mean a lot to the clients you're working with, the hiring managers that are interviewing and screening your resumes, and overall, it will just help you push the candidates faster in the interview, because the first round interview, essentially with the company, is almost like the second round, because you've already done a really good first initial screening, assuming your first round screening calls are really, really good with the candidates. So it just goes to show that there's all different types of recruiting professionals out there, and I really want to do my best, but in situations like these, he then ended the conversation saying, hey, we really, really like your candidates, and as a result, we want to try to use you as retainer instead. And ultimately, every time I interact with any client, whether it's retainer or contingent, I just honestly let the caliber of our talent speak for itself. A lot of people are like, you know what, Preston, you should do more retainer, and I totally get that. But a lot of times, and it's industry specific, and a lot of times I'm not too worried about the competition with contingencies, because I know that if I engage with a company, I'll do my best to send the best candidates possible, and I will let my candidates, the caliber and the quality of our candidates, do the talking for us instead of fighting for a retainer. I think a lot of times, if you fight too hard for a retainer upfront fee, you'll have a chance to not work with clients, especially startups that are super lean and need to be aware of their budget. But most importantly, it gives you an easy in and opportunity where you can really show yourselves and be different from all the other recruiters that they've worked with. And from there, you can build up a really good relationship and start picking up more roles, and then eventually talk into a retainer model. So I like to come in being really nice, really professional, and easygoing, understanding that the founders most likely are skeptical of me because they probably had one or two or a bunch of really bad experiences. I let our candidates do talking. We close one position, we close 2, 3, 4, and then we create this really awesome, professional, respectful, synergistical relationship. And then from there, anything's possible. If they want to work with me, if they want to open up a lot more roles with me, then we can talk about other different business models. I understand the importance of retainer. I understand the pros and benefits of that and pros and benefits of contingency. But at the end of the day, as long as you continue to deliver time and time again to your clients, anything is possible down the line. So that's kind of how I see it. Again, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect. It's just a way that kind of worked best for me and my clients. Situations like these, whether we're working with the $3,000 org, a 10-person team, this happens time and time again, that we're able to come in, be professional, be responsive, bend over backwards, and most importantly, send them candidates that they like. And then from there, the companies end up choosing us as their default service partner. So just goes to show, if you focus on authenticity, being genuine, not playing any games, providing really, really good results, anything can happen. So I had a really good conversation that really inspired me, made me feel grateful that all of our hard work result in small little winning nuggets like these. And it just really gives us fuel to make sure today's an awesome day. We focus on the rest of the week and make it awesome. So got calls starting soon. Let's see what we have to do today. You'll be speaking with the head of product there. Just make sure that you obviously convey really good enthusiasm and energy, have great questions prepared. Like we talked about, they're looking for just people with differing backgrounds. So if you have consumer facing, I would definitely emphasize that. I know you've worked on marketplaces. I would definitely emphasize that as well. And then, just, be prepared to, like any interviews, talk about your specific kind of accomplishments and products that you worked on, and I'm sure it'll go well. Okay, so for the past 30 minutes, I've been calling my candidates again, making sure that they have actually picked a day to interview. Typically, I like to do that just directly, just so I can kind of bypass the step on chasing candidates, making sure that they actually confirm. But for this particular client with this flow, like the hiring manager, the head of product wants us to send his Calendly link. And a lot of times the candidates don't respond. So that makes me having to kind of chase the candidates and making sure that they confirm. I still got 3 more to follow up on, but the one I just spoke to right now, we got it confirmed for Thursday, so another interview on the books. Got a couple more to call, but again, yeah, this is another thing that we do that we hadn't really shown in previous videos. A lot of times it's repitching or coordinating, just the very easy stuff. Try to have it focused more on the conversations and negotiations, but behind the scenes, I'll try to also just include as much as I can about sourcing and repitching and things like that. So how's the work going? How's business and everything?
Good. We are building some pretty kick-ass technology that I think, as I continue to do user research in the market, is actually this thing has legs, and I think it's a meaningful product.
I'm really happy for you. And how big is the team?
20-something people.
Wow, all full time?
I would say about 17 of those are full time.
Are you saying you want our help with this?
I mean, I would love to get your help on just hiring an entry level.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got a year of experience, good enough, good academic background, year of experience as an SDR.
Okay, and then the highest you can go for salaries 60?
I think base salary, but definitely with commission. The whole point is if we start generating revenue, I'm happy to throw it around.
Okay.
Then once we start generating revenue, it becomes a lot easier for me to fundraise as well.
And you're willing to hire this person fully remote, but a full-time salary, yeah? A full-time job?
Yeah.
So I just got off the phone with a really old friend of mine. I actually first started working with him originally as a hiring manager. He was the head of product, and then he left that company, worked at several other high-profile companies, and now he's starting his own company, and it seems like they're making a lot of progress. His team is already roughly around 20 people. They're all about creating a platform for the future of work that really helps companies to be able to scale and operate a lot more seamlessly than all the other products already out there. It seems like they're doing well. He was able to raise a significant kind of friends and family round, and I think their product is already pretty established and developed. So now the focus is shifting towards more for sales, getting the contract signed. And he pinged me late last night. He wanted to chat. So this was a good opportunity for me to catch up, really advise him on his hiring strategy, what exactly he's looking for, and talk about maybe if there's a way that I can help him. The issue is he needs to be very lean. So I don't want to charge him my full commission placement fee, but at the same time, we're at capacity. But at the same time, him and I go way back. He's a good friend of mine. And a lot of the clients I work with over the years have been from him. And so I definitely want to do whatever I can to help him out. And then if we can kind of agree on terms, then he told me that he really would love to have my help finding a very junior SDR, business development, 100% remote. He's thinking salary around 60K, but all in, the person could probably be making 120 or 150. For the right person, this could be a really cool opportunity. Fully remote, OTE, about 120 to 150, benefits, a chance for you to join the founding team. You have significant equity. I think the offer in general is pretty competitive. So I'm gonna have to figure out what fee I'm gonna agree on with him. Retainer doesn't make any sense here because he doesn't have any money. And we can't really do our typical 20, 25, 30% here because obviously he's pre-seed. I'm only willing to take this on because he's a really good friend of mine. I really wanna help everyone that I know, my network, to do well. And if I can play a small part in that, I totally would. I'm gonna send him my engagement letter a little bit later today. He's gonna mull it over the weekend. If I guess we get the green light next week, we'll start a search here and try to see if we can find some good folks. But should be pretty decent. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about the salary. 60K could be a little bit too low for the people that we usually target, but we'll see. We'll get a feel for the market, and also the fact that it is fully remote. That means we can reach out to really anyone in the country. I think that'll make it a lot easier than targeting cities like New York, where even junior level folks are looking for 100 plus on the base. So we'll see what we can do. But one of the best and my favorite things about recruiting is even aside from like the negotiating and sourcing, I just also love to consult and advise. A lot of companies need help either optimizing their recruiting process, or they just need another ear, another perspectives in terms of like talking about what the best recruiting strategy should be, what should they hire, how much are the salaries, how much equity should they give. And a lot of my time on the side is talking to these companies and just really helping them out. I really love that other part of like that high level, high touch strategic recruiting, especially when it's people that I know. It makes it really, really fun. And so we did a bunch of that with him, but it seems like he still would love to kind of engage us properly as a recruiting agency. So more than happy to help and see where it goes.
Yeah, I would be very excited about it. I think, I haven't talked to them since, I think last week on Thursday. So I haven't had a ton of conversations this week. But yeah, I'd be super excited. Honestly, I keep going back to the culture really shine through in the interview process.
And are you like also in process with other companies as well?
No, I'm not really in the process with anybody at the moment. This one just seemed really interesting for me, and so that's why I took it.
And then I just want to circle back with you. So I know that last we spoke, you said that ideally if you found something you're really excited about when it comes to salary, you would be flexible for the right opportunity, but you'd be looking for like at least 130 or higher. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. 130 is definitely a hard minimum for me, base-wise.
Okay.
So that is important to me.
Okay, happy Thursday. I just synced up and did a process call with my candidate who is interviewing with my dental tech client for kind of a people lead position. Everything seems to be going well. They went through her references. She's still very excited. Salaries are aligned. She's not interviewing elsewhere. So we're definitely sitting in a very good position to be able to move pretty smoothly if an offer does come out. The only concern I can be thinking as of right now is that her references finished last week. It's already Thursday and she has not heard back from the founders, which is not the best sign. Typically, if references go well, or if the company really, really is excited about her, they would reach out or extend her an offer immediately after the references. So I'm not sure what the delay is. I really, really hope that they don't have someone else that they're now going through references that they like even more than her. But I'm gonna ping the founder an email, see what he says. If not, I'm gonna sync up with him tomorrow anyway to talk about new positions. So hopefully it's some good news and we can kind of bring her some great feedback, hopefully a positive one before the end of the week, before the weekend. So all in all, everything looks great. Been having a great Thursday so far. Gonna be picking up a brand new role in about 30 minutes with another direct consumer e-commerce brand, and still got a good number of kind of 6 candidate calls, 6 interviews happening. It's jam-packed, and I'm gonna also be sending out an engagement letter for the founder and friend I spoke with yesterday who needs help finding kind of sales SDR roles. So busy day. Feeling good so far. Energy is great. Able to wake up early, got a good workout in, and now just focused on doing as much work as I can. So see you in a bit. All right, just got off a Zoom call with one of my e-commerce clients, expecting to pick up and talk about the performance marketing director. That's exactly what we did. But upon digging and sharing my insight and knowledge of the market, they're now open to look at more senior managers and managers, which seeming like it's a better fit instead of a director. So that's the whole point. When you're engaging with clients, especially a first time around, you're engaging with new clients, you really want to ask pointed, specific questions. Like, what exactly will they be doing? Or what is the salary cap that you're looking for? And if they're looking for someone that's super senior, but then they can't pay and their salary is equivalent of a manager or senior manager, you should be like, hey, look at the data. I can show you like the numbers from our database, from my own knowledge and experience in this market. It's gonna be a tough sell. I'm not saying it's impossible for you to be able to find a director or a senior director at the salary, but you're gonna probably have a healthier pipeline and just more interviews and more conversations if you're willing to kind of talk to people who are a little bit more junior. And so it's our job to be consultants, but also to challenge appropriately if you know like the client's looking for something completely unrealistic, because at the end of the day, recruiters, we are judged and gauged by the results. If you just say yes to everyone and deep down inside, you know that what they're looking for is a unicorn, and then you don't send them anyone in the first, second, third, fourth 1 or 2 months, that doesn't look well on you. So you want to also do whatever you can to set yourself up for success. And by doing that, you want to really be crystal clear on exactly what they're looking for, how confident you are internally on how you're able to provide results. If there's some sort of mismatch, like what can you do? What can you share with them? Maybe perhaps data, sample profiles to help them recalibrate what they're kind of looking for and what their expectations are. So we came in thinking that they're going to be talking about a director, maybe a senior director. We ended the call with more of a manager, or senior manager. We got crystal clear in terms of the person's background, the responsibilities, who they're going to be reporting to. Is this a new position? It seems like they're going to replace someone who recently left, which is totally fine. And their submissions have just not been great so far, either organically or through other agencies. So now they just want to step up, reach out to us to hopefully get the job done. So I'm going to move very, very fast on this. For this specific company, we actually done a lot of performance marketing, VP performance marketing positions. And so we know like the typical profile. They still want us to target in-house direct-to-consumer brands, e-commerce brands, paid media, paid search, paid social. And if they have like a really good business sense, meaning like if I were to want an extra $1 million in revenue, how much budget do you need to kind of manage, and across what channels do you need to manage to get that done? So someone who not only is just really, really good in paid media, but someone who understands like the connection of that and the business needs and business goals. And then it seems like it's a pretty fast process. They've already started interviewing people, but so far no one seems to be really, really strong. So now it's the perfect opportunity to go hit the ground running and get this done. I still have 6 calls to do later today. Gonna start this probably later today after I finish a pass with software engineers. And all around, it's a great day. Also came across a rock star mid-level software engineer coming out of amazing companies like Amazon and Microsoft, and sent them out to numerous of our clients, and he's already in process. So that's to be expected from like an amazing top candidate as well. So that made my morning picking up this role. Got 6 interviews later today. We'll see what happens. And so far it's a good day. Weather is nice. Energy is great. It's only midday on Thursday. Let's finish this day off strong. I think one of the things that really stick out about recruiting for me, especially if you're working for yourself on the agency side, is the luxury of flexibility. You have the power to be able to choose to recruit part-time. You have the power to choose recruiting full-time. You have the power to push yourself really, really hard, or just take it easy throughout the whole year. That's the beauty of recruiting. And I've been getting a lot of people reaching out to me saying, hey, like, is it okay if I just work for myself? Is it really, really important to scale and build a team? Whatever are your aspirations, like you can make it happen in recruiting. A lot of the amazing recruiters that I'm personally working with right now, and we're partnering and doing amazing deals behind the scenes, some of them are still working full-time jobs, and they just love and they just enjoy recruiting on the side. Others are similar to me. They're working for themselves. They're a one-man, one-woman show, or they just have a couple people that they're managing. And others are more focused on volume. Like they just want to go crazy and just do as many deals as possible because they're just very motivated about money. Whatever your motivations, whatever your goals, you can tailor what you want to do with recruiting that fits your lifestyle, that fits your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. That's one of my favorite things about recruiting, is that I have the choice. Ultimately, I have the choice of whether or not I want to grow a team. I have the choice of how hard I want to work. If I just want to do 1 placement a month, 1 placement a quarter, or a couple placements a year, I could do that. There are also many other recruiters who just focus on doing the best that they can, Q1, Q2, and they take the rest of the year off. You can totally do that. And so a lot of people who are coming to me saying, hey, like you need to charge a bigger fee, you need to grow a team, like that's great. I think I ultimately have aspirations to want to scale and grow, but I've come to a point where like money really isn't everything. Whether I charge someone 20% or 25%, it's not really going to change my life in any way. To me, it's all about doing recruiting the best that I can, creating a good reputation, and showing and being transparent to everyone that I work with so that I can provide the most value to the candidates and clients and all the stakeholders that work with me. Like that to me is more fulfilling than the dollars coming into my bank account. If I wanted to push my clients and get them up on 30% or on retainer, I can do that, but there's really no real like strong need because business is going really, really well. It fits my lifestyle, it fits my goals. But if I want to, I can choose to slowly evolve it and modify it as we go on. I hope this helps. So I think if you're looking at recruiting as a full-time job, a part-time, another supplemental source of income, an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, to work for yourself, you could do it all in recruiting. One of the aspects why I really love recruiting is something, the flexibility, the power, and having that choice to do it in however way you want is something you don't really see a lot in many of the industries. So that's one of the reasons why I love it. I started for the flexibility because I want to travel and I want to make an income, whether I'm in New York or Florida or DC or even international. But now as I'm doing this longer and longer and longer, it's all about how can I now focus on partnering with the right people, creating a foundation and scaling so that we can provide more value to more people faster. How can we also show people how we can constantly challenge ourselves to do recruiting better? And elevate the recruiting industry. These aspects are what really inspires me, what really motivates me, and what keeps me going. But again, if you're in this for a long time, you're thinking about it, you're just starting your career or starting your business, I think that's awesome. I think it's one of the best careers, one of the best businesses that you can do right now, and I'm all about it. So if you're recruiting or you're thinking about starting recruiting, please comment down below, like, what are your inspirations? What are your motivations? What really drew you to recruiting? We'd love to kind of hear your story. And if you're successfully working for yourself, you have a small team, is it the flexibility? Is it the unlimited income potential? Is it the fact that it's scalable? What about recruiting? What about the recruiting? What about the industry really resonates with you? We'd love to kind of hear your thoughts. Oh my God, today was a monster day. We had 5 interviews. I think 4 out of 5 have positive feedback, which is fantastic. Got one more interview. I just finished my last candidate call. Amazing product manager from California, who I think is perfect for my D2C client in New York. And then picked up a performance marketing director earlier today. And so it's just been a jam-packed day. Hardly had time to just really do anything outside of work. And for a strange reason, that's kind of the way that I like it. I like the hectic chaos and the absolute craziness nonstop. And I think one of the things that I've done constantly from the get-go, and I think one thing that I do that really helps me, and I've talked about this before, and I think if you're in recruiting right now, if you're starting out, this can potentially be helpful, is just do more with less, or just to do more with the same amount of time. When I first joined the National Recruiting Agency about 7 years ago, I did not have a recruiting background, didn't even know what recruiting was, but somehow I was able to come into the industry, work at this company, and I was one of the older ones there. And in one short year, I was able to go from starting literally from the bottom, making $30,000 annually in New York City, which is like horrible, to then becoming one of the top recruiters out of 300 recruiters nationwide. I was able to do $100,000 on my own desk, build over $500,000 on my own desk with my own clients in the first year with no recruiting experience. And I think there are a lot of variables combined together allowed me to perform that way. But I think one of the unique aspects that I think that I just done really, really well is just really good time management and really sticking true to the idea of doing more with less or doing more with the same amount of time. I was able to go from 0 to $500,000 a year and leave roughly the office 99% of the time at 5 p.m. sharp every single day, when a lot of my colleagues would actually stay late till 7, 8, 9. How was I able to do that? I think a big part of it was doing more with the same amount of time. In recruiting at a full desk, you are in charge of getting clients, you're in charge of getting candidates. If you have a lot of clients, you can shift gears and find candidates. How placements happen is you reach out to candidates, you get responses, you screen them. If they're good, you send them over to the clients. The slower you do that, the longer it'll take for you to find candidates to send to your clients. And so I figured, might as well just 5x the speed on everything, condense everything as much as possible, and make the whole experience as short as possible. Because if I can do that, the faster I can go, the faster the chances of me doing deals, and it just condenses everything. Make sure you're also really, really on top of time management. Take 1 hour, for instance. In 1 hour, if you're in recruiting, ask yourself, think about it, write down how many emails, how many outreaches do you do in an hour? How many calls do you do in an hour? How many candidate calls do you do in an hour? And then ask yourself, well, If it's like 10 calls an hour, can you do 20? If yours is 20, can you do 25? And if you think you can do a little bit more, what should you do to allow you to make those higher number of calls or outreaches? I had to audit my whole day. Basically, one of the biggest conclusions I had to make for myself is I just want to do more and pack as much as I can in the same amount of time. So what the typical person does between 9 to 5, I want to 2, 3, 5x the amount of work, but in the same amount of time. By doing that, you're hyper vigilant, you're hyper focused, you're time managing very, very well. You literally don't have a second to spare, but then you can get all your work done at 5 o'clock sharp, compared to people who will just take it easy and put 50 to 60% intensity in their work every single day. And by the time that they leave, even though that they spend longer amount of time in the office, they actually do less work than I. A lot of people are working 8 hours, but their actual true working is maybe 2 to 3 hours or 3 to 4 hours, depending on how productive you are. So for me, I wanted to increase my true productivity work time as much as possible so that I can get out and enjoy my life outside of work. By doing that, I was able to reach out to more clients faster. I was able to reach out to more candidates faster. And by condensing the interview processes, by following up, by being hyper responsive on feedback and prep emails, I was able to really just shorten the average interview process by a significant amount. And then ultimately that led to, after compounding it, faster and faster placements. And then as I kind of got a handle of the whole process and I started optimizing, making it more efficient even more, and try to find ways to automate it using different tools and software so that I can work now smart in addition to working hard. So by being able to pack your schedule by doing as much as you can and doing more with the same amount of time, then I was able to really run out of the gates and surpass a lot of the recruiters that have already been in the office much longer than me. And I was able to then enjoy a full evening with little to no kind of stress on what I had to do the next day because I got all my work done between 9 to 5. So I figured in recruiting, at the end of it, it's not rocket science. You're competing against not only your peers in your agency, in your job, but also with other recruiting agencies around the country, around the world in your market. And so typically, we all do the same thing. We have to reach out to clients. We have to reach out to candidates. So I figured if I can just do whatever I have to reach out to more clients faster, reach out to more candidates faster, not only will that give me more of an edge in getting more candidates and clients to work with, but I also have a chance of doing deals faster. And that's why for me, I love do more with less. I love finding times in the week where I know most people are starting to slow down, starting to relax, and I just want to push as hard as I can, even though I myself am feeling tired. That will slowly give you an edge over time, every single week, every single month, compounding to the performance overall in the entire year. So I hope this helps and gives you a little perspective. I've been getting a lot of people reaching out saying, how are you able to pack so many calls in a day? I'm just very, very hyper focused on what specific questions that I'm asking. I know my markets very, very well. And then I also just want to be courteous and respectful to the candidates that I speak with and not talking to them for 40 minutes to an hour. I can always have more opportunities to cultivate that relationship further as we go into process. So I just focus on what I need to do. And then I'm like, how can I do more? How can I do it faster? That will immediately, if I do that correctly, will lead to more deals and more offers. So anyway, my voice is slowly fading away right now. I still have one more interview. It is with a product manager and my aviation tech client. I hope that goes well. Got to send out an engagement letter later today. Got 5 more interviews tomorrow. And I think another 14 calls tomorrow on a Friday, which I love because I love ending the week off strong, because if you do that, you're guaranteeing momentum for the next week. You never want to start off a brand new week with nothing on your desk. That literally equals death and just completely stalemate, plateau, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do in recruiting, especially at a full desk. So hope that helps. Hope you're having a great week so far. You're hitting your goals. You're doing some placements. You're talking to some and networking to some amazing hiring managers, founders, and candidates. And I'm just going to wrap up here in a bit, and I'll see you in a bit.
Essentially helping to support on valuing inventory, helping to help reconcile inventory for financial reviews, and then also helping to be present during audits of our warehouses during that time as well.
Are you open to kind of going into the office in a hybrid fashion? Is that okay?
It's dependent on where the office is located. Hour 15 outside of the city. Prior to COVID, I was commuting. So I would be open to a hybrid option. It's just dependent on the level of commitment.
Having NetSuite knowledge or experience, even financial audits and B2B, are a huge nice to have for them. And you kind of check off all the boxes here. And then in terms of salary, they're very well aligned. We can get you a nice little bump there. They do offer benefits, bonus, equity, and tons of growth, and a chance for you to really have that seat at that table, work directly with the founders, and really just help scale a team. And a company that's particularly looking into other verticals, markets, and channels right now to continue their fast expansion. So I thought this would interest you.
That all sounds very interesting to me.
Happy Friday morning, and just finished a regular typical candidate screening call with a candidate for one of my senior director of operations role. She checks off every single box, from coming out of a direct consumer brand, multiple financial audit experience, B2B retail experience, ERP NetSuite experience. She knows everything, the ins and outs of a business in that space. And she's also within the salary range. So let's go. I love it. I love it when we find really senior people, have a great chat with them. They also are very excited, interested. So yeah, looking forward to introing her and seeing what we can do here. But it's been a good week so far. We have an interview happening now. We have 3 interviews happening later today. I'm gonna hop on the phone with one of my clients in a couple hours to pick up a brand new role. Overall, we had about 5 interviews yesterday that seemed to have gone really well. 2 of them are actually moving forward to interviews, which is the next step, which is fantastic. We're also making a really good progress. We picked up a performance marketing role yesterday, and we've already submitted 1 candidate that's moving to an interview yesterday. So fast. And I love that. I love picking up a role and then sending them a candidate that they said yes to that same day. Like that's something that we push ourselves to always strive for, like getting to our clients as fast as possible. But I still have a bunch more candidate calls today, focused on engineering here, talking to and just getting some really great people this week. And so hoping just, to fill in the gaps with all the other pipelines that are moving forward and pushing through. But, it's been a good week. Gotta make it a good day, gotta finish strong. And so let's see how we end this week. And if you're curious, what happens, please make sure that you just stay tuned to the end and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Oh no! Remember I was talking about an offer yesterday for a people ops manager. She's finished references, but then she hasn't heard back from the company since last week. And I shared with you that my gut's telling me that's not the best of signs. So I just got off the Zoom call with the founder of one of my clients that my candidate's in process with, and my gut was right. So while they were interviewing with my candidate, someone reached out to them, another candidate inbound, completely organic, reached out to the founder, they started interviewing her, and then the whole process, they were neck and neck up until all the way through the references. And what happened was they ultimately decided to go with this other person, and they made a decision. I think it lasted the last day or 2, which is the whole reason why they haven't gone back to my candidate. I don't know how I feel about the situation. I think if you're going forward to an offer with a candidate, you're going through references. On one hand, I understand from the company's point of view, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and you want to just keep the pipeline moving with other candidates. But on the other hand, I also know many companies that if they are interviewing with one candidate, they're really excited about them, and that candidate moves to a reference, then they kind of pause everyone else to see what happens here. But what happened was that they continued to have 2 different candidates through references. One of them ended up being a little bit better, and they went with her. So it might not sound like a big deal. And I think if you're working in-house or in HR or you're a hiring manager, you're like, hey, Preston, this actually happens all the time. It's not bad. It's not wrong. This is just the best practice, and the company has to kind of do whatever they can in their own interest. I totally get it. It was just kind of a shame to me that my candidate went through references and she hasn't heard back for a whole week. Without hearing back from anyone on the team, I think can leave a sour experience to anyone. So I think if I were to really harp on something, it's really kind of that specific point, because I just honestly felt bad about my candidate, and I'm all about doing what I can to make sure my candidates have the most positive experience. So bad news, I have to let my candidate know that they ended up just hiring somebody else, but the founder did say that they liked her so much that they're possibly thinking of maybe offering another role for her. So my candidate is more in the general HR people ops, and they just closed that role, but they're wondering, hey, like maybe she's open to the talent acquisition, as sometimes a lot of HR people have a lot of overlap with acquisition. But at the same time, there's a whole other camp of HR professionals who only want to do HR, people ops, and they don't want to do talent acquisition. So I have no idea how my candidate's going to respond to this. I think initially she will not be too happy hearing that they went with someone else, but she also shared with me that she really vibed with the founder as well. So maybe there's a small chance of still like reviving an offer placement deal here, but I'm not gonna have my full confidence in this situation. With that said, it was kind of like bad news and then half of a good news, because I'm not even sure if my candidate's gonna go for it. But I ended up finishing the call, talking to the founder that he needs help finding a supply strategy lead, someone with experience in the marketplaces, with consulting, with financial and analysts background, working at marketplace tech companies, and they can pay up to like 150 to 175, and they're hiring multiple people. So it's kind of like a bad news in the beginning, good news because we have different jobs to work and there's multiple, so we might be able to do multiple deals here, which is exactly what I'm all about. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to navigate this with my candidate. I think the founder is gonna reach out to her directly. Once that happens, I will try to jump on the phone with her as soon as possible, feel her out to see if we can maybe sell this really, really hard for her. But all in all, always great to catch up with my founder. He's growing a ton. His whole team has about 60 people. They're about to move into a bigger office space. And so always excited and happy to see the clients you work with do well and succeed. It'd make it a little bit better if my candidate was the one that got hired, but it is what it is. There's still a chance that she can still join the team, just in a different capacity. But the founder did say that as they continue to expand and as there are more and more things to do in the HR scope, she'll be able to help with that as well, and maybe transition back into HR in the future if she wants to.
I'm a little taken aback for a few reasons. They did check my references and they did interrogate my references. Like each one of my references came back saying they were asked 20 or 30 questions, and it was like a 20 or 30-minute conversation. And I just think it's really inappropriate that if they weren't sure, and I wasn't this wasn't just cool, we're going to check and make sure we're making the right decision. I just feel like it was really inappropriate to waste my references' time like that.
I thought everything was going well from our end. Your references went well. What happened was that someone also just came in towards the later stages of your process completely inbound. They had, I think, an initial chat with her, and then it went really, really well. And then she just went through the process where it got to a point, sounded like, from my understanding, it was basically neck and neck between you and this other person, which I think if there's any context to their questioning on your references, I think it was because of that. It was just really down to both of you.
That's such a bad candidate experience to do that. And all my references are VP, SVP, or heads of HR that do not have time for that kind of thing.
I want to do whatever I can to make sure that you have the best experience possible. And typically, from my experience, if someone goes into the reference stages, the company at least, should just stop the process with anyone else and see that person through. And that's what I thought was happening with you.
I'm not yelling at you, for the record. I think I'm just
no,
you're here, and I get that but that, I will also say the fact that they came back and asked me if I'd be open to a talent acquisition manager position, which is, I have zero skill set in recruiting. I'm just, the whole thing is just very perplexing to me at this point, and I don't understand how I had such a different vibe.
I think that was just his way of just sharing with you that he still very much, him and his team just still very much love talking to you, and they just want to find another way, potentially to continue working with you. I know the TA role is completely left field. It's not even what you do, but in this small off chance that you'd be open to it, or there's a little overlap in skills, I think he understands it was a long shot, but it was their way to be hey, we still very much like you a lot and just want to find a way. And so I guess this is kind of the offering here.
That from a business and for my happiness perspective. Like, I guess I appreciate the offer. I'm not trying to be unthankful there to try and go through it, but that just doesn't make sense. You know, I would be terrible at that. I'm not a recruiter.
Oh my God. So that was my candidate. What's really bad is that every single one of her references are super high level people, very senior VPs, senior directors with limited time. And basically the reference calls weren't light, they weren't casual, they were like deep interview technical questions. My candidate said that they were asked 25, 30 questions each and it went super long, only for her to get rejected. So it not only left a bad experience for her, but a bad experience for her references. And all in all, as you know, I always harp about how can we make sure the candidate's experience remains positive as much as possible. And of course, if they get a job, that's a positive, happy ending. But if they don't get a job, I still want them to walk away hoping that they still have positive experience with me, but most importantly, the company. Like, you don't want to burn any bridges unnecessarily. While I'm trying to play the devil's advocate, and I'm like, okay, the company, they want to keep their options open. They want to pursue this other person, which I don't even know who this person is or their background. And then somehow this person came in inbound via LinkedIn, messaged the founder, and then was such a good fit. She went through all the rounds. They fast-tracked her on references, and then they ended up hiring her instead while leaving my candidate kind of hung to dry. I mean, it just honestly was like the kicker when the founder's like, but we still like you and we want you to join the team as a talent acquisition manager. And she hasn't done a single thing in talent acquisition or recruiting in her entire career. So she's like, where is this coming from? I totally get where she's coming from. At the same time, I also know that HR for a lot of companies combine HR and talent acquisition. And so the founder was hoping that maybe she did a little bit of talent acquisition or recruiting, a little overlap throughout her career, and maybe she'd be open to pivoting to talent acquisition. But then she, told me, she's like, hey, like if he actually listened carefully of what I've done recently and what I'm looking to do, and I communicate with him, it wouldn't make sense for him to even just ask me in the first place. So like she kind of felt a little bit more angry, almost offended that he asked her, like she wanted to join as a talent acquisition manager, which has nothing to do with her interest, her passion, her goals, and most importantly, what she currently has done. So all in all, like not the best experience. To my candidate's credit, I don't even know why they rejected her. I don't know if something about her background really stuck out. I don't know if there's anything specifically about the references that didn't go well. Like, so the least I could do for my sanity and for the sanity of my candidate is to follow up with the client and just ask, like, was there any specific reason why you rejected her? Hoping to give my candidate closure. Man, I thought we had this in the bag. That would have been awesome. Experience is everything. And if you're a small company, the last thing you want is to have just really bad reviews or rumors about your company online or within the industry. If I can, I'm gonna just try to touch base with the founder, give him a little feedback, try to get some more insight as to why he made the decision. But oh my God, not happy. She clearly was not happy. Hoping to hire her again. If you're watching this and you have any great HR, people ops positions, kind of a manager to a senior manager, even a director level, please let me know. Would love to intro her to you. Sometimes things still happen and I'm still flabbergasted and speechless. And unfortunately, this is not in the most positive light. So we'll see if we can kind of get more information to really close the loop and end the story here, but not a good way, not good news to get on a mid-Friday afternoon. But gotta shift gears, compartmentalize. Still got about 6 more calls today. We'll see what happens. As soon as I get them, if they're good, I will send them over in real time. I think he loves the fact that she went to a good university. She went to an Ivy, and I think she's like the ideal profile. You can go up to 175. He doesn't really want to talk to people with like 20 years of experience. Ideally, like the sweet spot is like probably 4 to 10. Yeah, but ideal would be 150 for them. But like I think a lot of these people are going to be beyond that. All right, just got off the phone with one of my recruiting partners. If you're watching, you know who you are, and it's just been such a pleasure to work with. So if you're wondering how you want to work with us, there's so many different ways for us to collaborate and partner. And if you're already an established recruiter, please reach out to me. If you have a client and you're struggling to fill the roles, or you have like amazing candidates that you want to try to find new jobs, like please reach out to me. But most importantly, reach out to me on YouTube, Instagram, but also now our Discord community, which is the perfect place to reach out to me. And we're making a channel just for partnerships, splits, collaborations. That is the perfect time to find ways to partner with us. If you're not someone who is already a recruiter or someone who is interested in recruiting but still wants to work with us, we're always looking for ways to work with great people. This particular person actually did not have an experience in recruiting, but when he reached out to me, he was able to provide so much value. Not only did he introduce couple companies that he thinks we should reach out to because they're looking for positions that are around our specialty, but he was also able to like look within our job boards, listen to my past videos, understand exactly what I'm sourcing for, and provide already couple candidates that fit the bill perfectly. People who do that, like I pay really, really close attention. As you can see, like my time is super limited. I have people doing the same thing, but the resumes are all over the place. So people who are able to go beyond that, really understand exactly what I'm looking for, the must-haves in terms of these specific positions. Everything fits from like salary to visas. If you're able to just really do that without any recruiting experience and be able to find amazing people, that's when like what we'll definitely pay attention a lot more on top of everything else I have to manage. So he was able to do that. We started a conversation. We were able to officially create a partnership, and he helped place a marketplace manager role at my e-commerce client. And it was absolutely an amazing experience. And now, because of that, he's actively also helping us with our performance marketing director. And now we just went over this supply strategy lead position that he's also going to help us with as well. So if you're excited, if you're interested to partner with us, feel free to always reach out to me with questions. I definitely appreciate that. But since like I'm focused full time on my job, my time is limited. So if you want to maybe go beyond that and be like, hey, here are a couple positions that you should, or a couple companies you should reach out to, or I have a couple amazing candidates, either from my own sourcing or the ones I think you could be hiring for, and these I think could be a good fit because X, Y, and Z, then like I'm like, wow, you're really making an effort, and I definitely want to prioritize and just allocate some time to kind of go over your responses so that I can give you an adequate response. And then if that makes sense, we can maybe jump on a phone call and then start a partnership. So if anything, if you just love recruiting and you just have a good stream of clients, good stream of candidates, you have questions, come to our Discord, ping me there. Be active on our community, and you can chat with also other like-minded people who are hopefully doing the same thing. And we're just here at the end of the day, just helping each other out. So had a great call with him. We went over the recs, we went over the must-haves, we went over sample profiles, we went over the salary range. And what's really impressive is that this person also is working a full-time job. The fact that he's able to move so fast is insane. Like he's also, I just remembered, is working with me on a senior director of operations role. And the same day that we picked it up, he sent me a candidate that's now being interviewed. Like he's almost as fast, if not faster than me on that quick turnaround. I think like he was able to find a candidate in a couple of hours, and that was just amazing. And the candidate was happy, and the client was like really, really impressed because we just picked up that role. So always looking for people who work fast, who have attention to detail, who are passionate about recruiting, who want to help collaborate with us to elevate and work on some amazing positions, work with some amazing candidates together. Always happy to talk to you. And don't forget to hit us up on our Discord community. In addition to Instagram or YouTube, always, always, always a pleasure to hearing from you. So we've been engaged with our aviation tech company, and while I thought that it would have been an incredible experience and I was really excited tackling multiple roles, it just quickly becoming kind of all over the place, rigmarole of a circus. So when I first talked to them, we went over a very clear interview structure, number of stages, and who's going to talk to who, and etc. And it was very clear, very short. And then as we started sending people over, everything just kind of started to fall apart. The first thing that I noticed earlier this week is when my product manager Ken's talked to the head of product, and then I followed up with the head of product after the interview. I'm like, how did it go? He's like, oh, we just had like a chit chat. I only just kind of took it very, very easy, didn't really ask any questions. And then I followed up saying, hey, if you're still interested, then send me an email and we can do a proper interview. I'm like, I'm confused because everyone that we sent to you expressed strong interest. So they're already really much serious and interested talking to you and also the company. But then like this first round interview, which is supposed to be an official interview, it's more of a chit chat, a casual, non-committal chit chat. And then the candidates were supposed to follow up again with my client re-expressing interest. So I don't know exactly like why that panned out the way it did. Second, when they actually did the interview, it was a chit chat plus he wanted to do like a growth product management analytical case study with them. So it completely caught my candidates off guard. If it was just a chit chat without a case study, I totally get that. I would still be a little bit confused. But because it's such like a casual, very informal chit chat with a case study followed at the end, it made my candidates really confused. They're like, what is going on here? And then the candidates was to follow up with my client expressing interest. So I followed up with my client. I'm like, why are we adding a whole nother step? Like, I screen them, I send people that I think are a good fit, then you're supposed to interview them. And then if you like them, you move them on to meeting other members of the team. What happened in the process where you're supposed to interview them turned into you just like chit-chatting and then throwing a case study, and then now we have to wait more time for the candidates to then reconfirm their interest with the client. I'm like, we're making the process a lot more complicated than it should be. We're making the process a lot more longer than it should be. And as a result, like we're gonna be less competitive and we can also risk losing the candidates. I'm like, what is going on? And we're at a texting basis right now. So I've been texting him and I'm like, it's Friday, midday. I'm only gonna be working for 7 more hours. So please let me know if you wanna chat and then we can set something up and talk about this. But there's that. And then another component is he's interviewing the product and then his quantitative counterpart is interviewing my more analytical data science candidates, and I'm not getting any feedback here. So I know interviews happen, but they only happen because I constantly have to remind. And then once the interviews happen, I don't get any feedback. And so me and my candidates just left in the dark and I have to constantly follow up, which is something I don't usually mind because I have to do this time and time again with different clients. But the combination of this with what I'm going with the head of product, I'm like, there is no process. And even after establishing process, they're not really respecting or following it. It's gonna be very, very difficult for me now having to manage everything and navigate everything. And it's a lot more difficult to do that when new stages appear, new case studies appear, new interviewers appear. And then now, I just got a recent email from my client saying, hey, Preston, like the candidates that you're sending me, they're not under the impression like that this is an interview and all they want to do is chit chat. So it makes no sense for me to ask interview questions. So I'm like, what is going on? I'm so confused right now because everyone that we send over, we let them know exactly what positions for, who they'll be interviewing, what company it's for. If we have a job rec, we'll send it to them. And then they reconfirm interest and then we send it over to our clients. Our clients like, I want to talk to them. And then when that interview happens, it's supposed to be an official interview. And so that fell apart. The client's telling me all he wants to do is chit chat. Now he's telling me that all the candidates want to do is chit chat. No interview happened. They're throwing in a surprise case study. Candidates are surprised. Oh my gosh. And it's just stressful because we're doing like 4 or 5 open positions with them. So I need to know exactly like what is going on here. Some of the candidates that he interviewed are now finally expressing interest to resume, and they're giving me their times when they can chat. And then I send it over to my hiring manager. I'm not hearing from him. So it's just like not going to be the best in terms of candidate experience. And time is really of the essence here because all my candidates, they're good and they're going to be interviewing with many other companies as well. So it's really important we move very, very fast. So I have to talk and get on the phone with my client just to kind of talk things out and see if we can just simplify things a little bit and stay with the basics and keep things short and simple. Right now, things are just changing left, right, and center. It's just so hard to keep in mind like what exactly is happening. And then as a result, we're gonna start losing candidates and we're gonna start being outbid and less competitive to other companies, which is like the worst case scenario. So this is something I'm gonna have to deal with. I'm finishing up my candidate calls. I only have 1 more to do later today. And then once that's done, then hopefully I got a couple more outstanding emails and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so there's an update to our aviation tech client saga. So I just heard back from the head of products colleague who is some sort of, he works in a quantitative analytical capacity, who's interviewing the data science candidates. I just heard that he gave feedback for 2 candidates and he wanted to reject both of them. Now, the feedback is a little bit confusing because he said that the candidates are rejected because they don't have enough machine learning or modeling experience. when I first picked up these roles with the head of product, he said that they're only looking for guys that are just good in Python. They don't have to know machine learning. So immediately in my mind, there's a disconnect. And this is why I keep talking about how important it is to try to talk to the direct hiring manager when you're picking up any role, because if you're not the technical hiring manager, you're not going to really understand exactly what this key hire needs in terms of the must-haves. But because the head of product came so convincing, because he also says that he works very closely with his colleague, he knows exactly what sort of data science that he wants. And so I went off his word. So I think that was my mistake, not being able to communicate directly with his colleague. But then again, at that situation, I didn't have any other communication with anyone else other than the head of product. Also, when I worked initially with the head of product, we were mainly focused on the product roles, product manager, product analyst. And then he's like, hey, can you please help us with the data science roles? And this is exactly what we need. Boop, 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 boop. And that's exactly what I went off of. But then when I got this feedback now, he's saying that the candidates aren't having something that I didn't know that they needed in the first place, which is the first feedback I got from the head of product saying that they didn't need any machine learning. So very, very confusing. Complete whiplash. The second one, my candidate was submitted to the head of product for a product analyst role, and somehow she ended up getting scheduled with him at the last minute. He thought it was a data science role. So the candidate walked away really, really confused, not with the best experience. My client is like, what is going on? Can you please screen your candidates more? And here I am, just stuck in the middle, looking over my notes like 5 times, saying, what is going on? So at this point, it just doesn't make any sense to move forward. I have to be able to have a thorough conversation with my client and really discuss exactly what's going on, what is the process, who are the interviewers, what exactly are they going to do in the interview, because like that can't be a surprise. I would love to have my candidates as prepped as much as possible. How many stages are there? And then who is going to interview who in terms of product management, product analyst, and data science? Why are there so many mix-ups going on right now? And then why are the processes changing? So this happens all the time in recruiting, and it's never fun, it's never easy. One thing that recruiting will teach you is obviously number one, patience, which is really important. But also number two, like this is where we have to kind of kick gears a little bit, put on our strategic hat, put on our consultant hat, put on an advisor hat, come in and just be able to share honest feedback with their client so that they can hopefully optimize and change their process to make it more efficient. Because at the end of the day, we all have same goals. I want to help them find people that they hire. They want to find the people that they hire. If somehow there's a disconnect, no one's going to get hired, and then everyone's going to get really, really frustrated, which is something I definitely want to minimize because this is such a really cool company. So despite that, we still have a couple people who are pushing forward with interviews, which is great, but I still have not synced up with the head of product. It is now almost 4 o'clock on a Friday. I think at this rate, probably not going to hear back from them until next week. We'll see what happens. But it's been a good day so far. Like we still had a good number of people pushing forward. Picked up a new role with our kind of healthcare tech client, but you just heard of the fiasco of a drama of a situation with the references that we just went through there. But despite that, still was able to talk to a good number of candidates that we submitted for our marketing, ops, even engineering. So all around, I think it was a very, very productive day. And this was kind of the same pattern that we saw every single day this week. So overall, very productive week. But for some reason, just really feeling a lot of fatigue and tired right now. A lot of my remaining kind of mental resources need to be focused on how do I just make sure my candidate from the references fiasco walks away in a positive light, and how can I just really fix this whole like interview process, because I have almost like 10 candidates in limbo right now, and it's just becoming a big, big headache. So I just need to figure that out, and then hopefully we can make things happen. Gotcha. So the marketplace at a high level will connect users to aircrafts. That's like the ultimate marketplace. Okay, and so that's how you're going to try to build the largest aviation marketplace in the world, essentially.
Right.
Okay. You're telling me you already have a lot of demand, and so one of the main scopes of bringing PMs on is to essentially be able to kind of convert that demand into actual quantifiable memberships, or like you put it, monetizing them. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, and then you said that you want to build a PM team from scratch. So this basically demand PM team is from scratch. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, it is 6 p.m. Just when I was about to leave my seat, the head of product called me. We were able to clarify a lot of things. optimized, tightened, shortened the process. He was able to be crystal clear on exactly who the candidates will be speaking to so that there will hopefully be no surprises. He reconfirmed that product managers will do some sort of case study, but it's not so much like a study, from my understanding, where the answer is everything. It's all about the thought process, and it's meant to be done in a more of a collaborative manner. So I felt really good about that. So gonna be like keeping it really, really tight in terms of the product management, data science, analytics, really gonna hit that hard probably first half of next week to make sure we continue to send them really good candidates, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm feeling so much better. It would have been a shame to end Friday with just a big question mark on, am I gonna still work with this client? What's gonna happen? So I just love to get as many outstanding things as done as possible so it doesn't distract me or lose my focus over the weekend. But happy about that, feeling much better about it. Really appreciate that, he's calling me directly, and it's always great that no matter how late or whatever I have to do, just making time to kind of chat with him so that we're on a good relationship and we're on the same page. So hello again, it is now approaching Friday evening, and I just want to come on here again and just say thank you again for watching. It is now time to end this video of another week in the life of what I do every single week as a recruiter in the technology industry. I was honestly really hoping to end this week off with an offer, but as you saw, it just fell through really badly, and that was honestly kind of an understatement. It really just blew up, not in my client's founder's face, but also in my face, and the candidate just unfortunately walked away with a very bad experience. I am doing whatever I can to make sure we can minimize that. I followed up with my candidate, I followed up with my client, I followed up with the founder, asking him for any feedback, any insight that he can share why he decided to move away from my candidate after references, even though everything went well, and ended up hiring someone else that started much later in process. So again, not really sure exactly what happened there, but I will do whatever I can to follow up with my candidate, try to find her extra jobs. If anyone watching is looking for a great kind of HR, people ops, lead, manager, senior manager candidate, please let me know. I'm more than happy to make the intro here. As you saw after that, also just currently dealing with this other drama-filled situation with one of our aviation clients. This is why it's really important to, first of all, talk mainly to the technical hiring manager to understand exactly the technical requirements and must-haves so you don't waste everyone's time. But also it's really important that you work with clients who, once you go over everything you need to in the first couple calls, outlining the process, that we can kind of stick to it as much as possible. If things change, if they start adding things, if they start adding assessments and case studies onto calls without you knowing, that can get very complicated. When they start taking away, adding new stages without you knowing, it just can get very confusing, and overall it's certainly going to impact people's experience. My biggest concern is that I just want to make sure that my client remains competitive, and by adding a new round, by then giving the power back to the candidate, asking them to reconfirm, there's so many more opportunities now where the process can just fall apart or just stall and plateau. And then if that happens and my candidates are in process with other companies that have their game together and they're moving forward seamlessly, my client is just going to be outbid and outcompeted all the time, and that's not what I want to happen. Just to make things a little bit more confusing, we're working on not just one, two, but multiple positions with them, with a lot of different candidates in limbo that are circulating, and I need to do what I can right now to navigate, manage everyone's expectations. But aside from that, we were able to successfully pick up a performance marketing director role and a senior director of operations role. So if you have any experience in e-commerce, direct consumer brands, and you have amazing in-house talent for a senior marketing performance manager or director of performance marketing, or even a senior director of ops, please definitely reach out to me. We also picked up today, as you saw, multiple strategy leads. I think that the target persona profile that we're going to go after is pretty straightforward. There's not that much of a people there, so it's very important that if you're reaching out to a very small, targeted niche pool, that your marketing, your wording, your outreach, your hooks have to really be on top of the game, because again, we are in a talent market. If you're a good professional, chances are you're being hit up all the time by so many other recruiters, most likely including me in the technology industry. So it's very important for recruiters to effectively be able to communicate the opportunities in a way that can kind of maximize impact and responses for the talent and not to waste their time. So all in all, I have a clear plan next week. Hopefully we can resolve everything that happened this week, and hopefully we can kind of, again, get one step closer to making an offer. I know things on engineering, design, product management marketing ops are slowly running across all cylinders. Things are simmering, and I just want to do what I can that if we have something moving forward, we can concentrate on this. But anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much again. Your support really, really means a lot. And if you had a good week and you're having a good February and you're as excited as I am to look forward to the rest of the month and just crush your goals for the remainder of Q1, please consider liking, subscribing, clicking that bell, and let's get recharged and focused together, and so that we can really smash our goals and finish next week and this month off really, really well. If you're into recruiting, you have any questions, you're already an established recruiter, you're a master in your niche or your market, you have a great track record placing volume positions, or you have great clients that need help with hiring, or you're finding just amazing talent and you want to find other positions to submit them to, reach out to us, especially our Discord. Don't forget, we launched a free Discord community platform if you're new watching this, where anyone's invited, whether you're in recruiting, you're not in recruiting, you're just excited about recruiting, or just overall just want to interface and just have a good time in a casual environment just to kind of hang out with us, where you can ask questions, communicate and network with other like-minded individuals. That is the perfect opportunity to do so. The link is down below. Feel free to also reach out to me on Instagram, on YouTube if you have any specific questions. We'll always do my best to answer and respond to you. But all in all, things are going really, really well. We're still on track of doing our biggest month ever in the entire career. So I really hope we can crack a couple more deals here. And I'm just really pushing pedal to the metal to work smarter, to optimize our flows, and to really push and fight for all our candidates that are in the pipeline. So I'm going to take it easy tonight. Got a couple more things to do, a couple more candidates to schedule, and then going to really enjoy the weekend as I always do. But again, I appreciate you all. Feeling overall really, really good and excited to come back next week and crush it with you all. So if you're watching this, happy Friday. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in the next one, and let's keep working hard and elevating recruiting together. See you then.